And our leaders are low-life scum that screw little girls so the Jews can screw America. That's what's happening in this country. I just said it. That's what's going on in this country. And our FBI is corrupt. The Supreme Court is corrupt. The Justice Department is corrupt. The news media is corrupt. The whole country is corrupt because we've walked away from Almighty God and we've allowed Kabbalah-practicing Jews to defile the nation. Put that video out. Go ahead and clip this video and send it out. I dare you. You won't do it because you're scared that the truth may get out to the American people. I'm had it up to here with the corruption in this country. Little children being raped for the benefit of Israel. That's all it's about, Doc. Little American children being raped for the benefit of Israel. American politicians raping little American girls to be videotaped by Israeli Mossad so that Israel can blackmail American politicians. That's the state of America today. God ought to destroy this country for what we've become.
That were most profitable, the breeding plantations. Why don't you want to show us those? You know why? Because after the research that I did for this album, you realize that the moment that a girl menstruated, she was put in a stable where a horse would be and forcibly mated, forcibly raped by a male of the slave master's choice. And when she had children, they weren't called children, they were called a litter of pups. The punishment for raping or killing a person in medieval Spain is gelding. Gelding is when you take hot pincers and you take a man's balls and dick off root and stem. Killing a person, law of the Bible, right? Medieval Spain, super religious. You killed a man, he should be killed. Why were indigenous and black people categorized as subhuman? So under the law, you would not be punished for the things that you did to us. That's why. You used to be proud, right? Used to be proud, white America, of rape and murder. Used to be proud of colonization. Used to, wow, that made us tough. And then you got ashamed of it. And that's what you're dealing with. That's what America's dealing with, a schizophrenic crisis. There's a British manual, right, that was taken out of the British Museum because within the manual, it talked about how rape was a weapon of war that should be used against the indigenous population. You're ashamed of that now. You're ashamed, right? Who was Christopher Columbus? His image has been so whitewashed, but he was trafficking little girls on an island. Who does that sound like, huh? All you right-wing defenders of Christopher Columbus and his legacy? He was trafficking 9-year-old indigenous girls.
Ku Klux Klan marching in 1924.
White people come fucking first, understand that. Then the fucking minorities come.
This is a photo of the Ku Klux Klan marching in 1924 in New Jersey, protesting the immigration of people we now refer to as white. Same folks he's talking about in that video. Last spring, my daughter and I went on a field trip with another homeschooling family to Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. That Ku Klux Klan photo was hanging at the National Immigration Museum on Ellis Island. I was really fascinated by this section in the museum that had political images. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, illustrated weeklies such as Puck and Judge were a major forum for political debate. I found this cartoon to be so fascinating. Let's get into it. Here we have this Uncle Sam-like figure doubling as the Pied Piper, and notice that his little flute says lax immigration laws. This Pied Piper is luring rats to the United States. Let's check out the rats. Thief. firebrand, white slaver, degenerate, bandit, convict, murderer. You get it, they were sending us their worst. On the shore, we have the politicians, elite, or aristocracy from the origin nations, happy to see America take these rats. Let's check out what countries they represented. Greece, Turkey, Austria, and Hungary. Russia, and France. So people coming from what we now refer to as white nations were perceived as a criminal alien infestation. So now back to this anti-immigration KKK march. Here's the KKK literature of the time. Let's see what they were upset about. The American working men, the backbone of this nation, cannot rest securely when confronted with the ever-increasing swarm of ignorant immigrants, weak in mind but strong in back. American laboring men must be alive and alert to this danger which threatens themselves and their homes. Sounds familiar, right? So then they go on to complain about Mexicans and Chinese people. But here's where it gets interesting. Here, they say that people from Vienna, Berlin, Rome, and Moscow are taking jobs. They describe people from Ireland as coming and just bringing trouble with them. Then they describe people from Czechoslovakia, Russia, Poland, and the Balkans as pauper undesirables. Just to make sure we're on the same page here. 100 years ago, when my grandfather was 19 years old, the KKK was marching up and down the streets in protest of the immigration of people who now believe that their whiteness is real, pure, and superior. The majority of the people protesting black and brown immigration right now are only a generation or two away from being lynched or having a cross burned on their front yard. One of my favorite content creators put it this way.
White supremacy was not created for white people. White people were created for white supremacy. White people were created. White people were created.
Stay tuned for more history on this topic.
White people come fucking first. Understand that. Then the fucking minorities come.
This is a photo of
By her feet from a tree. They hung her by her feet from a tree. After beating her, they set her on fire. And she was pregnant, so they cut her stomach open. And when the baby fell, the unborn baby fell, they stomped on it. They stomped on it. Then they riddled her body with 60 bullets. After all that, they left her there to die. Her name is Mary Turner. She was a 21-year-old black woman married to Hayes Turner. And the reason this happened to her is because a white plantation owner who was known for brutalizing his slaves. This is 1918, by the way. Slavery was supposed to be emancipated in 1865. But anyway, a white slave owner was killed by his enslaved African for being brutal. When word got out that he had died, a large mob of white men and women went around killing 13 black women and children and men all over Valdosta, Georgia. Hayes Turner, who was Mary's husband, had nothing to do with the killing of Mr. Smith, but the mob lynched him anyway. One of the 13 victims was riddled with 120 bullets while hanging from a tree. Now, like I said, Mary's husband, Hayes Turner, was lynched. Mary found out about this, and she knew the names of everyone that was involved, and she decided to expose it and tell the world, hey, my husband and these 13 victims need justice. The mob did not like that at all. And if you don't know, it's 1918. You know that the white community would have done tremendously worse for less. So imagine how they felt when they were exposed. That is when they dragged her to the middle of Valdosta, Georgia, to Little River, beat her, strung her up by her feet upside down, set her on fire, cut her stomach open, stomped on her baby, and shot her over 60 times.
This is pissing me off.
25. My little sister's 21. It's kind of crazy. Did you?
Giving all praise on and glory high Bashmi Oshai. We gotta get out of here, man. We gotta get out of here. Aren't you tired? Aren't you feeling some kind of way? Aren't you tired of this shit? Look at these doubles. That's what they're coming with. That's what they're coming with. An acorn fell on the damn car. An acorn. And they thought to just shoot the shit up. You see? From all directions. Jacob's trouble is coming. It's gonna be real hard for Jacob. Look at these devils, man. It's gonna be real hard for Jacob. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94, verse 1. And it says in the KJV, O Lord, power. Let me switch this to the NL. Hold up. Let me see. Let me see something real quick. I apologize. Yes. It says, O Lord, power, to whom vengeance belongeth, O God, to whom vengeance belongeth, shew thyself. And that's what we hoping. We need the Lord to show himself, man. We need the Lord to destroy our enemies. Don't you see these devils and how they've been getting down? It says, lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth. Render a reward to the proud. And that's our prayer. It says, Lord, how long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak hard things? And all the workers of iniquity boast themselves. How long, O Lord? Verse 5, they break in pieces thy people, O Lord. And who's the Lord's people? You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the people of the Lord, right? They slay the widow and the stranger and murder the fatherless. Yeah, through their different laws, the different things that they pass. All right, through AI, through this internet, through everything, through the food, all right, that they push on them, through the different ads, through the internet, through everything. Yet they say the Lord shall not see, neither shall the God of Jacob regard it. Understand, ye brutish men among the people, and ye fools, when will you be wise? He that planteth the ear, shall he not hear? He that formed the eye, shall he not see? Right? He that planteth the ear, shall he not hear? He that formed the eye, shall he not see? He that chasteneth the heathen, shall he not correct? He that teacheth man knowledge, shall he not know? The Lord knoweth the thoughts of man, that they are vanity. Blessed is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord, and teachest him out of thy law, that thou mayest give him rest, right? Rest from the days of adversity. We're storing up treasures in the heavens. All right. These devils are about to be destroyed. Esau, Edom will not continue, man. All right. For the Lord will not cast off his people. Going back to verse 13. That thou mayest give him rest. Yeah, we need that rest. We're not in rest right now. We're constantly, it's like you're dying to live. That's what I'll name this. Yeah. Dying to live under this man's society. The Lord said clearly, those that seek to save their life shall lose it, and those that lose their life shall gain it. So basically, you're dying to live, dying in this horrible flesh, this horrible sinful body, in this horrible sinful world, learning the difference between righteousness and unrighteousness, that thou mayest be a judge in the time to come, to judge your people. That's what the Lord is doing right now, man. Setting us in order before thine eyes. All right. Let me go back. It says, verse 13, that thou mayest give him rest from the days of adversity, until the pit be digged for the wicked. All right. Who's the wicked? Esau, Edom, so-called white man. All right. He's going to go down. It says, for the Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance. All these things that happen to us, all the buck breaking, all the hanging from trees, all these damn devils coming and killing us. The Sonia Massey situation. Remember the white man went in there? Hey, it was judgment from the Lord, though. But the Lord still wanted us to have that hatred in our minds. He still wanted us to have that. We wasn't supposed to get rid of that. Right? It says, for the Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance. But judgment shall return unto the righteous, unto righteousness. But judgment shall return unto righteousness. Right. And all the upright in heart shall follow it. Who shall rise up for me against the evildoers? And who shall stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? And who's raising their hands? The prophets, the brothers. I will, Lord, I'll do it. Right? Unless the Lord had been my help, my soul had almost dwelled in silence. That's right. The scriptures speak about how the angels of the Lord are compassed around them that fear him. All right. Let's go to that real quick. I think it's in Psalms 18 and where it's at. I'm thinking about 34 and 18 then. Maybe. Salakia. Bear with me. No way. Let's look up at Psalms 34 and 18. It's 34. What do you call that? Some kind of shit that they call it when you get everything backwards. Hey, pray for the brother, man. All right. Psalms 34 and 17. Let me read that real quick. It says, the righteous cry and the Lord heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Yeah, delivering you from the trouble of who? Esau, Edom. You damn devils, man. The righteous cry and the Lord heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. That's right, man. That's why they got mad at the Lord for sitting with sinners.